I am both tonight. So we will be working out in about 10 minutes. Moving through this world, on my cloudiest days, I'm confident, I'm calm, because God always places a rainbow in my cloud. I give honor to Him tonight for all that I am and all that I hope to be. Good evening. I listened to those young men as they spoke at the podium. And as each one began to recite things taken from Omega Psi Phi, brothers, I was haunted, wondering with the precision that they recited poems from our great fraternity, had there been hazing going on. Just a joke, I'm not turning anybody into nationals. On a serious note, my wife Leah, who's sitting right here, will be a wave. We want to thank the esteemed brothers of Dou Phi and Omega Psi Phi for just providing an opportunity for us to be at this wonderful event. However, if you knew Brother William Bill McGill as I did when I came into the fold of Omega Psi Phi, and if you know brothers like Mike Carruthers, who was there when I came into the fold in 1983, and if you know Brother Oliphant, Brother White, Brother Benton, Brother Gray, you know that when you receive a phone call from those brothers, you stop what you're doing, you stand at attention, you get your orders, and you implement. And that's what I do now. At age 51, when one of those brothers call, I answer and I act. It's a show of respect for men who poured into me many, many years ago. 30 years in Omega Psi Phi fraternity, but I still remember when I was that 19-year-old pledgee searching, and they took the time when I came to Detroit to have sidebar conversations. So my good brothers, and some I forgot, thank you. Give yourselves a round of applause. Tonight, I thank the parents of the scholarship recipients for being the guard, the guides, and the gates of these fine young men. Mr. James, Mr. Peacock, Mr. Redding, I thank each one of you very sincerely for performing at an exceptional level and for being exceptions to what has become the rules for African American males. I give you a round of applause. My quick drive-by message is meant to be instructional and not inspirational. But I simply ask the question, are you a contender or pretender? Ask the person next to you, are you a contender or pretender? And then there was silence. To one of the most toughest questions that a person can ask of themselves or someone else? Are you a contender or are you a pretender? Silence. Imagine, for one moment, imagine yourself in a room, a dark room, alone. Time passes by. The room remains dark. You begin to feel around the room, and you notice there are no windows. There are no doors. Time passes on. At some point, you decide, I want to get out. I want to get out. What do you do when life places you in unusual, unfamiliar, uncomfortable situations? What do you do when you have questions and no answers to the questions? What do you do when you feel trapped? What do you do? That's the question. And I ask that question because right now, African American males find themselves the headliners. The headliners for negative reasons. In the higher ed profession, which I've been in now for 30 years, we do research. The research that you read about in the Free Press, the News, Jet, Ebony, Essence. And we paint a picture of the black male. We talk about only 54% of African American males graduate high school. 34% of African American males live in poverty. 5.5% of all college students are African American males. And of that small number, only 1 in 6 earns a college degree. And so we find ourselves in that dark room. But it's funny, as Brother Olafon and I were talking about, my master's is in counseling. And so what I like to do is talk to people because it helps me learn and grow. I get a chance to travel all over the United States in circles of all types of men, the have not, the educated, the uneducated. But there's a common denominator. That common denominator is that every man wants more than what he has. It amazes me when I pull up at a liquor store in the hood and the brothers stand in front and I ask them to move. They look at me with a glance. And I know what they're saying. Ooh, you nigga. But then I ask them a question. Why are you standing out in front of the store? And by the way, what do you really want out of life? Is this all you want? And it never seems to amaze me that they come back with a reply. No, you know what? If I really had my druthers, I'd want to do. And it's the same on the college campus. When I ask our African American males, why are you walking around campus not performing? Why are you walking around campus with your pants sagging? Don't you know that only 5.5% of African American males are in college? And they look at me and they say, I want more. And so tonight, when I arrived here, I looked. And I looked at brothers. And I saw something in your eyes. The funny thing about brothers is that we have tired eyes. Because the journey, in most cases, are uncharted. And that uncharted journey finds us piecemeal a life, hoping for the best, but at the same time, filtering through a gamut of emotions, a teeter-totter ride. We go up and down, happy, sad, glad, mad, confident, unsure. Can you relate to me, brothers? We nod. Because I know that feeling. 51 in a couple of months, and I still seek knowledge from Brother Oliphant, Brother Gray. How do you reach the next stage of life successfully? How do you do it? It's the same question that our scholarship recipients would be faced with. The plan is good to have, but as we know, life has many potholes. It's like a Michigan road. And when you hit one of those potholes, it's a decision-making time that's critical. And I still hit potholes. At that time, you ask yourself that question again. Am I a contender or am I a pretender? You see, there's a lot of people who go around pretending. It's not authentic. It's a cheap replica of someone else. But that veneer nature cracks easily. And so when you have that conversation, and ladies, this is for you too, it's a serious question. Are you a contender or pretender? And once you arrive at that question, and you answer, I'm a contender, you get up from that pothole moment, and you be intentional. Intentional. And that means we gather up knowledge wherever we can. My knowledge base comes not only from higher education, but I read at least 4 books a week. I talk with anyone I can and extract knowledge from them. It's intentional. We also have to be intellectually astute. We talked about IQ. But beyond IQ, because believe me, I'm not the smartest guy in the world, there's the emotional intelligence that we have to have. And that emotional intelligence allows us to maneuver in different situations. It's our morphability. Can everybody say morphability? Morphability. It's our ability to morph into what's needed. It's like role play. Sometimes you see Denzel Washington as outstanding husband. Sometimes you see him as a crooked cop. But you have to remember that when you're in the game to win, you play to win. And that means every day you wake up with an intentional agenda. What I always say is that it's time to bring your A game. Can everybody say that? It's time to bring your A game? It's time to bring your A game. It's time to bring your A game. That means that every day you bring your A game. That means that that mask that you wear that pacifier that's still in your mouth. You pull it out. You take it off. And you say, I'm in it to win it. And so that means every day you live without excuses. That's all of us. It's time to bring our A game. And so to the men of Omega Psi Phi, we have a responsibility. And you guys are already engaged. Men mentoring is critical to our African American males. Pouring back, like Mike Carruthers, Clyde Gray, and others poured back into me. But then, there's a responsibility we have, young men, of self-accountability. And that simply means we never lie to ourselves. We never lie. We come to the end of every 24 hours that we have and we do an assessment. And we say, have we used that time wisely? Have we advanced ourselves or have we fallen behind? People, there is no standing still. One of my pet peeves is when I ask somebody, how are you doing? And they say, maintaining. Holding on. Either you're moving forward or you're falling back. That's all it is. And the choice is yours. And so as we look at life, it's simply every day that we say, we're looking either for the answer or the alibi. Ask your neighbor, are you looking for the answer or the alibi?
Answer or the alibi?
It seems simple, and it is simple. The answer or the alibi. That's what it's all about. We always look for the answer, not the alibi. That's too easy. The statistics will take over and make up a cushiony bed for us, but we don't want that. We play to win. And so I'll leave you tonight with a piece of advice. And it's very simple. As a child growing up in Detroit, Rayshawn told you, blocked from the old Tiger Stadium, you used to hear gunshots. People cry out. People fighting. And so I used to use fairy tales as an escape. An escape from the hood. An escape into what's possible. And there was one fairy tale that stuck with me throughout my life. And it gave me courage to move forward. It's very basic. And it comes from Winnie the Pooh. Has anybody ever heard of Winnie the Pooh? Raise your hand. In the last scene of Winnie the Pooh, him and Christopher Robin looked at each other. And they knew that they had been close friends, brothers. But they knew this was the last time that they would see each other. Christopher looked at Winnie and said, Winnie, promise me something. Promise me something, and promise me you'll never forget what I'm about to say. Tonight, I challenge everyone in this room to remember what I'm about to say. Will you do it for me? Will you do it for me? Christopher looked at Winnie and he said, no matter where you go, fellas, whatever pothole you hit, whatever obstacle you see, always remember Are you ready? Always remember that you're stronger than you seem, braver than you believe, and smarter than you think. And that's the truth for each and every one of us in here tonight. No matter what the challenges that lie ahead, braver, stronger, smarter. Whatever your dream, whatever your vision, whatever your mission, see it through. God bless you, and thanks for having me and Leah tonight.